Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well and having a fantastic start to your day and a great work week out there so far. Got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for today. Not a whole lot to talk about. There will be a chance of severe weather, pretty large, level 1 out of 5, which is a marginal risk for severe weather for the plains. And we'll talk a little bit on that, but in general, this will be a pretty short video. Of course, I said that in last night's video also, and it went on about 17, 18 minutes long, but a few folks have been tuning in for a while. You know when I tell you it's going to be a short video, about 90% of the time, it's not going to be really short, but this should be. But with that being said, we'll talk about a couple things and we'll get you on with your day. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. And just remember, guys, it don't have to be weather related. Reach out to me if you got anything you want to talk about, whether it's through email, social media. You just need somebody to talk to. You don't really have anybody to talk to. I'm here for you. I'll stop and read your stuff, and just whatever you want to talk about, I'm here. I don't always have all the time in the world to get very detailed with the response back, but when things get kind of slow like this, I have a little bit more time to spend on things. So reach out if you need to. Trying to back off a little bit from Twitter. Twitter has, we all have addictions and things like that, and some people, they got really bad addictions like drug addictions, alcohol. Well, I've been, especially when the weather gets, really crazy, I just can't get my eyes off the phone. So I'm taking this time as things are slowing down a little bit just to try to practice putting my phone down and stepping away from it. And Twitter is definitely a platform where, when you jump on, you see nothing but bad news. You see people bickering and things like that. And I've been noticing over the last few weeks, it's just been really bothering me. So, with that being said, I might not be on Twitter as much for people who follow me on Twitter, which is probably my most active following as far as a social media platform outside of YouTube. But definitely, I'm there still. I'm just going to try to back off a little bit and things like that. So with that being said, let's get rolling. Water vapor loop. If you're any kids in the background watching the neighbors' kids for the next few mornings, and they get kind of rowdy, and there's about 4 kids in my living room. I can't tell them to be quiet 100 times. They're just kids. They're going to enjoy themselves, and I don't blame them here. Upper troughing, digging into the west. You still got this spin. It almost looks identical than it did last night. So this spin continues to deliver just some cooler air, lingering rain showers and snow showers, but this will eventually and finally get on off to the northeast and get on out of here. The rest of the country, you got upper ridging building into the middle of the country, so it's starting to heat back up, and it'll heat up along the eastern U.S. also. But you'll have widespread upper 80s, low 90s here in the southern plains. And then somewhere in here, you're going to have the chance for some severe storms. Now, you can have a chance for severe storms today and not get a drop of rain. It might not even look like it's going to rain. And that's just the setup we have. We have what we call a capping inversion. And that's just an area of dry, stable, warm air aloft that prevents thunderstorm growth. So that is in place today. But the marginal risk is large because if you do happen to get a thunderstorm that develops, it'll bust through the cap. And we'll take advantage of all the available potential in the atmosphere, what we call CAPE. So red flag warning out here. It's very dry. And in Virginia, areas of the Delmarva and West Virginia, one county in eastern Kentucky, it's very dry in these areas too. So, when they got the red flag warnings out, don't light anything, don't do any outside fires. You guys just need rain. You do. Freeze warnings right here in this kind of purplish color, where we're just starting to get kind of late in the year now, and you get issued freeze warnings and frost advisories a little bit further north as we have the changing of the seasons into the warm season. Winter storm watch up for the northwest portion of North Dakota, northeast portion of Montana. We're expecting a quick hitting system to deliver some heavy precipitation in the form of snow up here. We'll probably talk about that a little bit tonight. We'll probably mention it briefly in this video, but we keep it rolling. Storm Prediction Center today, you got a marginal risk of severe weather. This is a dry line setup. So there's a boundary between somewhat moist air and dry air. In this case, I say somewhat moist air because it's not, you don't have dew points like deep into the 60s or low 70s. Down here, there's more moist air, but up here, there's really not. You have a lot of cool air aloft, which is favorable, what we call lapse rates, which basically the higher you get, the quicker the temperatures drop. That's what lapse rates are. So with any storm that does develop in this area, you can have a chance of large hail. You got the 5% risk of hail pushing 1 inch diameter or larger, 5% risk of winds pushing 55 to 60 miles per hour, and then not really much of a tornado threat today, but you never can rule it out, right? Keep moving forward here. We look at the fire weather outlook. I don't show this much, but it's critical. It seems like it remains critical in these areas this time of the year, almost any time of the year. Elevated here in this area where you have red flag warnings in Virginia. So when it's critical, you're definitely not advised to light any fires, things like that. It's very dry. The humidity levels are very low. It's windy, so just very dry air. Okay, so you know there's no moisture to the atmosphere or at the surface at all. So you know it could just take a cigarette butt getting thrown outside, and you can start a forest fire. So please be careful in this region if you're in the red and even the orange, the elevated and then critical. Southeast today, you know, not a lot to talk on. I'm going to breeze through this pretty quickly. So if you tune in just to click the tab for your area, chances are I won't stay on it for more than a minute or two. But some, you know, rain showers making their way out of eastern Texas into Louisiana. You know, they might redevelop in eastern Texas, but nothing storm. You're not going to get any really storm activity from this. Just some showers, and then some showers up here in Missouri are possible. You make your way into the evening, into the overnight hours, all the way into Wednesday morning. And, you know, just not a lot going on. You make it to the northeast, and this spin up here, this upper level low continues to kind of spin around. You got some snow showers in far northeast Ohio, northwest Pennsylvania around the Erie area, and far western and southwest corner of New York State. Even some rain and snow showers. These are mixing more so with snow in these higher elevations like in the Adirondacks, things like that. And you still got some lake-enhanced snow, lake effect snow, into northern Michigan, and then the eastern UP of Michigan. The western UP was the area that got all the snow before, but we'll talk more on that here in a second. But some of these showers will just pivot. You might even get some thunderstorm activity in Maine today, maybe a rumble of thunder. Nothing severe by any means, but certainly this is the same energy. These upper spins, they get so lost in the pattern, and there's nothing really picking them up to really catapult them out of the way, away from the U.S. But this is the same spin we've been dealing with for a while now, and it's not the one from, you know, it's not that non-tropical low spin from last week, but this is another pesty spin that just keeps on spinning around here. The one that's delivered like 2 feet of snow in areas of Wisconsin. Pretty wild. But you know, you could get a thunderstorm or two in the down east or the southern areas of Maine sometime this afternoon. Is definitely possible. I mean, you getting into this afternoon, you got some snow showers flying around in the southern tier of New York State, and then northern and then northwest portions of Pennsylvania, and then southern regions of Ontario. Could be just a snowy kind of day, but not like a snowstorm, just some snowflakes flying around. And this continues throughout the evening, even into the overnight hours. You might even get some lake-enhanced snow, lake effect snow off the shores, the eastern shores of Lake Ontario. You know, maybe into the Watertown area, maybe even some flakes flying around the Syracuse area overnight tonight. And then these are continuing a little bit as we get into tomorrow morning, but not a huge deal. But, you know, this just happens every once in a while. But we are getting kind of late in the year for snow, especially 2 feet of snow. So the south central U.S., outside the showers I just mentioned in eastern Texas and central Texas today, a little streamer of shower activity from probably northwest Missouri all the way down to close to St. Louis. And then we'll watch this thunderstorm development. This is, if anybody's going to see a cap that breaks, it's going to be right here at the border of Kansas and Nebraska, right into here. And these storms potentially develop late into the evening. I'm talking about after the sun goes down, or as the sun is going down, develops, kind of drifts over southeast Nebraska, then makes their way into Iowa. We'll take a better look at this here in the next panel. And in fact, let's go on to it. We're gonna talk about this area here in a second, because the north central panel is much better showing these storms And then the South Central. Almost had a sneeze come up just then. Somebody told me, one of my buddies on Twitter says when I sneezed in last night's video, YouTube added an ad right where I sneezed. So YouTube was looking out there. But you will continue to have these kind of lake effect snow showers, maybe burst of heavy snow, and kind of the eastern areas of the UP of Michigan. But I think this will taper off by later this afternoon. And then the eyes kind of go to this region right down here. Thunderstorm development is possible, and some of these could be strong to severe, could be photogenic. But, at this point, we're about 1 a.m. in the morning tonight, and these storms are really close to the Omaha area. Can they make it all the way to the Des Moines area? They become more widespread as we get a little bit closer to sunrise, and then you'll have an area of showers, maybe even some storms that develop here in southern Minnesota, and then a cluster of storms ongoing in eastern and central Iowa at around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. But up here where you have that winter storm watch, that might get upgraded probably to an advisory, some heavier rain could mix with some snow in the far northwest corner of South Dakota. But you could have this area of showers and storms way into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow morning. And they might go into colder air, and you might have like a line of like convective in nature shower and storm activity that goes into cold air, and almost just like a thunderstorm of snow might sweep through the northern portions of North Dakota. We'll see how this happens. Cold enough for snow in northern Minnesota as we're getting into tomorrow morning, but we'll talk more on this a little bit tonight. If I'm able to get a video tonight, we got another game. Tonight, actually. So the video will be kind of iffy. But temperatures are rising big time in the middle of the country. 80s, low 90s in areas of western Texas is certainly possible. You mix in this with the fact that you're going to have very low dew points, very dry air, and that is why you have a fire risk. But 90-degree temperatures are possible all the way into western Kansas. And then you got 70s and 80s in the southeast, the beautiful weather. You're warming up big time. You're still hanging on to some coolish weather, especially the further northeast you work, like into Ohio. But once you start to get westward, like for example, Chicago might only make it to the 50s, but if you go down here to the southern sections of Illinois, like mid to upper 70s are possible. Big time snow melt today in Wisconsin and the western UP of Michigan, and just the sun angle is the same as late August now, as we're pretty deep into April. But chilly day in the Northeast today with just this spinning low that's influencing the weather. But Pennsylvania will be very chilly. But once you get down into, I'm sorry, I keep scrunching up my nose. I'm trying to avoid to sneeze. But once you get down to Virginia, there's a stout cutoff in Maryland from like the 40s into the 70s in Virginia. So very warm air. You can actually see where this upper ridge is shifting eastward. Storms are expected tomorrow, a more heightened chance of severe storms. You got a slight risk from areas of Oklahoma all the way to Iowa. We'll talk on this tonight, but the biggest threat with this is hail. You got a 15% risk of hail pushing 1 inch in diameter or larger, and then also a 10% risk of significant hail. That's 2 inch in diameter or larger. So we got this, and then we have the day 3 risk, which we have a slight risk for day 3. And this goes all the way from deep into almost all the way to Austin, Texas. So it's actually dipped down further southwest into Texas, goes all the way through the northwest corner of Louisiana, which includes Shreveport, all the way through the heart of Arkansas, all the way into areas of the Boot Heel of Missouri, Poplar Bluff area, down to Little Rock, and all the areas in between. Probability here, 15% risk of severe weather. No hatch risk, though. Okay, and then we still got the day 4, which is for Friday. And expecting some severe storms down here in Louisiana and southeast and eastern Texas, even a small section of southwest Mississippi. Very warm to end the week, but we have a pattern-shifting cold front coming at the end of this week into this weekend, and it looks like it's going to get quite nippy the second half of the weekend for a lot of people in the eastern U.S. into the early part of next week. But below average temperatures are expected, in some cases much below average. You might flirt with some frost and freeze in the Ohio Valley in the Mid-South. And this just kind of stinks. It just seems like we always get a cold blast, right? It seems like we always get a cold blast here in the South early April and then late April, early May. It seems like Cinco de Mayo is always it's kind of chilly around here. I don't know what's up with that. But below average temperatures expected coming up. So enjoy these last few days of warm weather, because I think the rest of April after this week might be quite chilly. We'll talk more on this here in the coming day or two when we can shift away from the severe weather and more so towards this. But that's all I got. But with that being said, I meant to mention this at the beginning of the video. I'm definitely asking for prayers for this evening. We have our soccer game. It's our 6th game of the season. I'll be honest with you guys, we haven't won one game. Our technical record is 0-4-1, that one being one tie. So we've lost 4 games, tied 1, and it's just a league for fun, just like any kind of soccer, baseball league. Unless you're like in one of these little leagues or something where it gets really competitive. They always preach, hey, it's all about having fun, and I agree with that to an extent. I think it's good for kids to play sports. I think that losing helps them. Hey, you're going to lose in life. Do you get back up? Do you play better in the next game? It's the same thing when you get knocked down in life. Or are you going to stay down, or are you going to get back up and keep trucking? Now, these are 8 and 9-year-old kids, so they're not going to grasp that fully. So it's not like I'm out there giving them like adult life advice, but at the same time, it's kind of a stepping stone to bigger things in life. But with that being said, I'm kind of going off on another track there, but it seems like that, with me being a first-year head coach and not really knowing the sport. I know it now. Over the last few weeks, I know it now. And feeling like I've kind of failed just in a way with just not being able to coach them up good. But the second thing would be the fact that I think the league, if you would even call it a league, gave us a lot with all the first-year players, which makes sense. You put all the first-year players with a first-year kid coach, you can kind of learn together. But it seems like every team we've played has been just really experienced is probably the best word for it. And every coach that I've shook hands with, they've already been doing it for several years, if not several years, maybe a few years. So I guess for me, it kind of stinks because I know the kids know they're getting their butts handed to them, and you just want to go out there and help them, but obviously you can't. So I guess the prayers would be just for me to do my best job coaching, and just pray for my kids out there that are busting their tail. Well, I want to win for them. I would hate to go. We got 3 games left. I would hate to finish the season without a win. But it hurts me. I'm competitive too, not to the point where I trash talk. I'm not a big trash talker, and of course you don't want 8-year-olds trash talking. But I typically am the person that tries to put how I feel out on the field, and I've been just trying to coach them that. But definitely want to win for them. I know I'm going about 3 or 4 minutes deep into this, but just asking for prayers for a good game tonight. A good game where if we don't win, we can make some progress. And definitely praying for my kids. I hate for them to lose every game and then get unmotivated to ever want to go out there and play soccer again. And that's why, I guess to a degree, I don't necessarily agree with them putting all the first-year players on one team. I feel like you need to mix match them a little bit. Have a couple players where the other players can learn off of, feed off of, things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm the head coach. I need to make it happen. Like I said, I'm talking like I am a head coach to the South Carolina Gamecocks or something. But it's just how I am. I'm competitive. I love the kids. I feel like the kids are the core of a lot of things in life. I feel like a lot of the I'm going to try to say this way without offending anybody, but there's a lot of unease in this country. I'll just go on and say it, and some people aren't going to like it. I think the country has a big time mental illness problem, and I think a lot of it stems from what some of these kids have went through at a younger age. And I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. For people who follow me on social media, they see some of the things I post, and but one thing, I have the things I stand on, and I have a foundation I stand on my beliefs, and nothing's going to rock my foundation and what I stand on. So I think the kids are the core. I think they are, and I think that I think that if you're going to make a difference, it starts with these kids. And so, with that being said, God bless all y'all. Have a great day, and hopefully I'll be with you guys this evening.